If it's more convenient, you can leave those with me.
Yeah, right.
Well, good conversation. Nice talking to you, as always. You realize if they're not fixing me, you don't stand a chance. I need more friends.
We gotta get back to the past, to the 20th century. Digging through the bubble wrap into your memories. Back was the collector, he's protecting what we find. Relentless heavy rhythms keep us safe through time. Retro blasting.
This is not a toy.
Just the corners of your mind, retro blasting. The stuff you love since you were 9. We're blasting into the past to see what thrills still last. Retro blasting. Sit back and watch them go.
Saturday mornings in fall of 1984 were populated with lots of cute animals, crime fighters, some cutesy mutants, and amazing humanized technology, not to mention the Saturday Supercade, which had tons of video games that were made into cartoons. But there was one show that had all of these things and more: Pole Position. If you mention Pole Position to most 80s kids, they'll recall the very popular racing arcade game. But there was another Pole Position, produced by DiC Animation, who licensed the name from Namco. The cartoon bore little resemblance to the game and was most likely trying to cash in on name recognition rather than actually telling a story associated with the game. It focused on 3 siblings, Tess, Dan, and Daisy Darrett, who travel around the country to fight crime under the guise of a stunt show. Other members of the crew are Kuma, a genetically engineered animal, and 2 sentient talking cars, Rhodey and Wheels. The show is like a mashup of Speed Racer, Inspector Gadget, Knight Rider, and Scooby-Doo. The show ran on Saturday mornings in 1984 for 1 season with 13 episodes total. We purchased the complete series on DVD a couple of years ago, and it's worth noting that this particular set made by Exposure Entertainment is now out of print. So now, if you want to buy the entire series, you're stuck buying 2 DVD sets, both made by Mill Creek. One comes in a bundle with Cops and Jason the Wheeled Warriors, and contains 10 of the 13 episodes. Why they didn't just add in the other 3 is beyond me. To get those, you can buy a different set called TV Tunes to Go. The show opens with a pretty catchy opening song by the always amazing Shuki Levy, composer of music for Masters of the Universe and Mask. The animation was farmed out to a Japanese company called Anime International Company, and it has a great look and generally fluid quality to it. Unlike many other anime 80s hits, however, it was not originally a Japanese show. This one was made for the USA. We watch a lot of 80s cartoons here at Retro Blasting, plenty of which I never saw as a kid. A lot of times, it's pretty painful for me to sit through, but this wasn't one of those times. I actually really enjoyed this cartoon. From the minute I hit the play button, it kind of pulled me back to the 80s on Saturday morning, camped out on the couch with my cereal and my PJs. It was pretty awesome. The music and visual styling of the whole thing is completely 80s and somehow comforting to watch. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's generally pretty wholesome without being quite as saccharine as most 70s cartoons. However, all this is not to say that it doesn't have its faults, so let's dive right in. The first thing you hear in the opening sequence is,
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
here's this group of kids carrying on some family tradition of being, what? Spies? Government agents? A vigilante group? It's never really clear who's funding their sleuthing organization. Also, I'm not really sure how secret it is. The stunt show seems to function as a front, but it seems pretty boneheaded to name the stunt show the same thing as their secret crime-fighting organization. That would be like the A-Team having a TV repair service called the A-Team, in addition to them also having the A-Team as their crime-fighting group. If Pole Position is an undercover squad, they are the worst spies ever. Most episodes open with them performing the show and getting interrupted with a call from Uncle Zachary, forcing them to end the show early and rush to work a nearby case. We don't know how he's so well connected other than he works for Pole Position. He's like Charlie talking to the angels.
Good morning, angels. I'll get right to business.
You do wonder why he's having kids do the dangerous sleuthing instead of, getting an education. This is explained in the penultimate episode by the fact that he's in a wheelchair, so he needed them to be his legs. And what happened to their parents? If you're just casually watching the show, you may assume that they were killed either in a stunt or a case gone wrong. If you look it up online, you can read all sorts of answers, but in reality, it's never stated in the show. Generally, I really like all the main characters. There's Tess, who has to be one of the coolest female characters in 80s cartoons. It's really impressive to me that they created such a strong, competent, smart female lead, who isn't overtly sexualized or playing second fiddle to the lead male. She's a better stunt driver than Dan, and has plenty of street smarts, so she can handle herself in tough situations. Daisy is the little kid in the show. Now, I'm generally not a fan of little kids in cartoons. Mostly they seem to be there for comic relief, or to just make some dumb mistake that moves the plot forward. They almost always have irritating voices and say and do really stupid things.
Got a cheese sandwich?
He won't mind, especially when we end up saving the day.
Don't touch me!
Don't be afraid, you're safe now.
Lots of folks online seem to think Daisy is all of these things, but I just don't see it. When compared to those kids, Daisy seems pretty smart for her age and not prone to whining. Then there's Kuma. He is also frequently described as annoying. I would like to direct you, however, to some other 80s sidekick characters for comparison.
Now I know we're in trouble.
Snarf, snarf, I told you not to go off by yourself.
Shoo, get away! Who are you?
Unlike any of these things, Kuma is really smart, often more so than any other character. And he doesn't talk. The most annoying thing he does is squeak. Personally, I want a Kuma. He's easily the most adorable animal sidekick in 80s cartoons. Much like the mystery of the kid's parents, the cartoon never really tells us what kind of animal Kuma even is. We learn that he's the product of genetic hybridization, like he literally came from an Island of Dr. Moreau's situation. But we don't know what types of animals were used to create him. But whatever they are, in my mind, it equals cuteness. Rhodey and Wheels are the pole position cars, or they're the computers that operate the cars. They're very similar to Kit from Knight Rider, except that Kit's core CPU was not stored in a portable box that you could just pop out and carry with you like a TomTom. It's kind of like having a sentient robot with a removable brain. Which begs the question, how weird would it be to put Wheels' CPU in Rhodey and vice versa? Would it be like a car version of Face Off? Rhodey and Wheels are equipped with an unbelievable array of crazy tools and features that would make any Bond car jealous, including hydrofoil and hovercraft functionality. Wheels is the older of the two cars and is modeled after a red 1965 Mustang. He's voiced by Melvin Franklin, who is a member of the singing group The Temptations. He's more of a warrior than his counterpart, and is almost like a father figure to Daisy and her sister Tess, who is his driver. Rhodey is Dan's car, a blue concept car that looks like a weird hybrid of a DeLorean and a Manta Mirage. He has cool, gull-wing-style doors and a smart-aleck attitude. He frequently points out Dan's shortcomings, which I always enjoy.
Hey, am I some kind of driver?
Yeah, the worst kind.
Oh, I'm such a dummy!
I'm not gonna say a thing.
Which brings us to Dan. One of the biggest mischaracterizations of this show is that Daisy and Kuma are the irritating ones. I can assure you that isn't the case. It's definitely Dan Darrett. He's self-centered, whiny, arrogant, and stupid, and constantly puts everyone at risk while slowing down the investigation. He regularly takes on way more than he can handle in the form of stunts, and has to be rescued by one of the other characters. He has a super smart pet, but consistently doesn't listen when Kuma tries to alert him to things. He rarely thinks things through and just dives in with no plan. He's also the character who provides all the slapstick comedy. In terms of storylines, the show does have some issues. In the first episode, Dr. Zachary calls with a level 3 emergency. He says someone tapped into the system and stole the command codes to the pole position cars. Unfortunately, they stored all the information necessary to destroy their entire computer system in the memory banks of the cars. If their enemies obtained this, pole position would cease to exist. What? There wasn't a commercial internet in 1984, so unless pole position was on the ARPANET, this had to be an inside job. Also, why would you store all of your most critical information in one place? Uncle Zachary says to just change the command codes to Red 9. Well, no one's going to break that code. And he just said it out loud like no one could possibly be listening in. Shouldn't it have been something like, change them to your mother's maiden name, or something like that? There are a lot of far-fetched plots, ridiculous bad guys, inane treasures, and an inordinate amount of kidnapping. Seriously, almost every episode has someone getting kidnapped. The stories are less of a whodunit and more of trying to figure out the bizarre and unlikely motivation behind a crazy set of actions. For example, in one episode, some bad guys kidnap Kuma with the intent that they will dangle him over the top of Mount Rushmore so that he can retrieve a stolen jewel-encrusted totem that is hidden in Jefferson's left eyebrow. Early in the episode, Kuma escapes and frantically tries to tell the team what's going on by taking a quarter, nickel, and penny and placing them on small rocks, then pointing in the direction of Rushmore. You get the feeling this is all done to help kids learn geography, that Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota. The cast of villains in these episodes is kind of pathetic. You have a magician who dupes every single superstitious adult in a gold mining town into believing the gold is evil, just so they'll mine it all and give it to him. Then there's a guy who steals a beauty pageant necklace for his mother who never won the pageant, just so the family will no longer be full of losers. And then there's this guy. But as bad as these guys admittedly are they really that much lamer than your run-of-the-mill Masters of the Universe villain?
Don't you threaten me, cave dweller. I want Starchild, do you hear me?
Every once in a while, though, you almost want to side with one of the villains.
Well, Shelley, didn't I tell you this would be better than going back to the unemployment line?
Stop! You're surrounded!
That ruby belongs to the U.S. government.
A few times there is some bad editing, like this.
Look at Will. You don't see him complaining.
I complain too.
Or here, where Kuma is wearing a collar when he first appears on screen, then he's kidnapped, then when he escapes, Daisy says,
Kuma, where did you get that collar?
A few online reviewers have said pole position should be more about racing than crime fighting, more like its namesake. So here's the thing, racing in and of itself doesn't lend itself to a story. In real life, races are exciting because in theory anyone could win and no one knows who will. In a cartoon, if you just had people racing around a track with no real bad guys, just competitors every week, well, it just doesn't work. There needs to be a villain or a quest or something to build a story around. Speed Racer and Knight Rider both did this. Another criticism is the lack of a main villain. Pole Position employs a baddie of the week format as opposed to having some mustache-twirling bad guy conveniently appear in every episode. Both of these approaches have their problems, but the creep of the week method seems logical for the show given its influences, who all also use that format. In the final analysis, yes, the show has some issues, but I think it has some great qualities that really overcome its shortcomings. It has interesting characters. There are two leads, Tess and Dan, who have equal screen time, something not seen often in 80s cartoons. Tess is a great character who can be both tough and vulnerable. She's a much more developed female character than many others who had lots more episodes of screen time. Also, this show feels like it has heart. The kids have multiple moments of missing their parents, especially Daisy. What impressed me was the subtlety of it. In one instance, she dresses up Rhodey and Wheels like humans in order to play family, and she says she wants to grow up to be a stunt driver like Mom and Dad. When they return to their hometown, Tess points out their family home and remembers living there with their parents, while Daisy cries. It doesn't tiptoe around the loss, but it also integrates it into the characters pretty well. Kuma is another big win for this show. Maybe it's just the 8-year-old girl in me, but that little guy is freaking adorable. Or it could be that he just reminds me of someone.
Oh, I love you so much!
Anyway, the point is that so often animal characters are really annoying, but Kuma didn't annoy me at all. Usually I was yelling at the TV when the other characters weren't listening to him. The biggest problem with the show is that it had too much going on. It was going in lots of directions, but it didn't expand on any of its core themes quite well enough. It couldn't decide if it wanted to be a stunt show or a mystery show, and really could have benefited from a little more development of the backstory. Pole Position was canceled after just one season, but it's rumored that had there been a second season, the series would have explored what happened to the Derrett parents. The series also never had a toy line, which I think is really disappointing because it would have been really cool to have toy versions of both Rhodey and Wheels, possibly with little push-button voices. And then maybe I could have gotten my Kuma plushie!